Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is Saturday, January the 21st. We are looking at the NFL divisional round picks for today. We got two games. We got an exciting weekend of football. I'm looking at the PrizePicks plays for Saturday only today. I have 6 props I want to share with you guys. Hopefully we can have good luck today on Saturday. For football, let's get into it. As always, if you enjoy the content, hit the like button, subscribe, check out Twitter for updates, and to stay connected, that's down in the description. So I got 6 props I want to share with you guys. First one we are looking at is one thing that is kind of one that I'm looking at as like a free square almost, quote unquote. We're going over to the fantasy score prop, and we're taking the giant killer himself, Boston Scott, over 1.5 fantasy. Now, if you're an Eagles fan or a Giants fan, I'm sure you know what Boston Scott has done. For those of you that are not, in tune with those teams, Boston Scott has been the Giants killer over his whole career. He's played in 8 games against them, and he has a touchdown in 10 games, or he has 10 touchdowns in the 8 games that he's played against the Giants. In his career, he has a touchdown in 5 straight games against them. It's kind of a narrative where Boston Scott, if they're near the goal line, the Eagles are just going to give it to him against the Giants. Close out the regular season against the Giants, he gave you 54 rushing yards with another touchdown mixed in there. It's just one that I feel like it's pretty good luck. Eagles have had a lot of success against the Giants over this span, where Scott has gotten to the end zone and Doug Peterson bought into it. It looks like Nick Sirianni has bought into it as well. That's the first prop I'm looking at. Second prop we're going over to is Kansas City over fantasy, and I'm looking at Kadarius Toney taking his over 7 fantasy today. It's one that is pretty low for a guy that's been more involved over the last few weeks with the offense. Andy Reid has been dialing up some plays for him. They're giving him some easy grabs and letting him make some moves. He gives you a ton of speed. He can be utilized out of the backfield as well. We saw him with that nice touchdown, with that crazy trick play, which got called back for penalty, but then they went right back to him the next play, and he got into the end zone. With Hardman ruled out for this divisional round, Toney's in line to get a ton of work once again. I love him from a DFS perspective. The Jags defense, they're one of the worst against the pass. They're decent against the rush, so we know Reid likes to be pass happy anyways. It's one that I like. I even got 3 carries on the ground last week, and he gives you a big play upside. Wouldn't be surprised if he finds his way into the end zone, and that would be an easy over for 7 fantasy. I kind of do like him as like a first touchdown scorer today as well. Those are 2 over fantasy props we're looking at. Next, we're going over to rushing and receiving. And this one, we are taking Jags running back Travis Etienne over 88.5 rushing plus receiving yards. 4 out of the last 5 games, he's been well over 100. It's a matchup where the Jags are going to have to keep pace with, most likely, with Andy Reid's offense and the Chiefs. It should be a spot where the Chiefs are going to put up points, and the Jags with Lawrence, hopefully he plays like he did in the second half last week and not like the first half. Because if he plays like that he did against first half, there's no way Andy Reid and the Chiefs are going to blow that sort of lead. But I like Etienne. He's been getting a good amount of work last week. 21 carries against Tennessee. Didn't have a great game there. Only got 9 touches, but it was just like a game script, I guess, and they didn't really need to give him a ton of work just with how the game went. They weren't able to run, and it was a spot where Lawrence was able to kind of dice him up through the air. But against the Chiefs defense, they're above average if you look at both rushing, their pass defense and their rush defense. A little worse against the pass, 19th in the league. Etienne is most likely going to give you 1 to 3 catches that he can take for 20 plus yards most likely. He's going to be utilized in red zone situations, and this sort of game he's probably going to see most of the snaps. They don't really like to go to the backup running back and give him a ton of work. So I'm expecting, once again, Etienne to be the bell cow today. That's the third prop we're looking at. It's Travis Etienne over rushing and receiving yards. For the fourth prop, this one, we're going over to the pass attempts prop, and we're taking Jalen Hurts over 30.5. Now, Hurts has had a couple of weeks off, so hopefully that shoulder is healed and he's not dealing with any ailments with that. Now, he's played well in terms of hitting this over throughout much of the season, even when you thought the Eagles might adopt more of a run-heavy game script, it's just something that Nick Sirianni doesn't like to do. His first game, after missing a couple of weeks against the Giants, they came out with 9 straight passes. He's a quarterback that the Giants' pass defense is, decent. I mean, they're average. Their rush defense is pretty poor. You could take Hurts' over rushing yards, but I think he's still going to be looking to throw in this game. He gave you 31 pass attempts against the Giants, so he cleared it, and then the last time he faced the Giants, he gave you 35. So there are some good things there, and it's just the fact that Hurts and Dable have some history with Dable benching Hurts in the Alabama championship game. Being the offensive coordinator there probably has something to do with Hurts not seeing the second half. Ended up working out, but Hurts is probably something that sticks in his mind and wants to take it to him. So, I think you can take Hurts' over 30.5 pass attempts, or you can take his over rushing and pass attempts if you wanted to. So that's the 4th prop. Looking at for the 5th prop, we are going over to some tight ends, and tight ends have usually done very well in single game formats and like showdown perspectives. Now we have some great tight ends coming off some great games. Ingram last week, you have one of the best tight ends in football, if not the best, in Travis Kelce. First one I'm starting with is Evan Ingram over receiving yards. Jags are going to have to throw a lot in this game. So some of that could go to Etienne out of the backfield. Some of that's going to go to Ingram. He's had a great second half after kind of sleepwalking through the first half ever since the Jags went on that winning streak, going from 2-7 to making the playoffs. And Evan Ingram's been much more involved in the offense, and I wouldn't be surprised if he flirts with 100 receiving yards today. Lawrence has kind of been locked into Evan Ingram, and we've seen it with the uptick in targets that he's been getting. 7 last week. Had some down target games against Tennessee and Houston, but then 7, 8, 11 previous 3 games. He's being more involved, and it's been working out for the Jags, so I expect them to stick with it. And then the final one we're looking at is going with an Eagles over, and I'm taking Dallas Goedert over 48.5. Now he's missed some time with injury, coming back. First couple of games, they haven't utilized him heavily, but he's still giving you decent yardage, 45 and 46. The matchup here is amazing against the Giants' pass defense. We saw what Hockenson did against that defense, and the Vikings, they were just all over, just dumping it off to Hockenson down low, and we could see the Eagles kind of adopt a similar game script, especially if the Giants look to focus on the outside and slowing down Devontae Smith and having 2 guys on A.J. Brown or something like that. Wouldn't be shocked if Dallas Goedert goes well over 50 receiving yards. That's pretty much it. Taking Goddard over 48.5 receiving yards, and that's it for the video. Taking over 1.5 fantasy, Boston Scott over 7 fantasy, Kadarius Toney for 80.5 rushing receiving yards for Travis Etienne, over 30.5 pass attempts for Jalen Hurts, and then taking 2 tight end overs, both at 48.5, Evan Ingram and Dallas Goedert. Thanks for watching. Best of luck today, and I'll catch you all next time.